Hey there, Matt from Horror Society here to cover day 3 of the Nightmares Film Festival. I've got my guidebook here, so you may see me look down to look at some titles so I can remember all the stuff I saw. I saw like 20 movies, 22 movies maybe, over the course of the weekend, so my brain is still a little mush. But I'm here to still talk to you guys about what I saw, what I liked, what I didn't like, and we're going to do day 3 here now. Day 4 is still coming, and then there'll be an overall recap that you can check out. So day 3 started with Making Monsters, the feature. It was a Midwest premiere, and I thought this one was really cool. It's basically a YouTube prank video star goes off for a weekend getaway with his girlfriend to a friend's cabin. The friend, or actually not cabin, it's a church that they bought. But the friend is not there, but the friend's boyfriend is there. And basically shit goes down at the church. Very creepy, very well made, very well paced movie. It's a good one to start the day with because it starts your adrenaline very high. This isn't going to be one of my favorites of the fest, though. I think it kind of falls apart at the end, unfortunately. But the first 2/3 of the movie are very strong and very engaging. So I think horror fans are going to find a lot to like in this one. I recommend it. It's called Making Monsters. This was a Midwest premiere, so it was the first time anywhere in this area. I'm in Chicago, they're in Ohio, so it was the first time anywhere in this area anyone's gotten to see it. I like this one a lot. It's not one of my favorites, but I would recommend it. You know, with the only downside of it being that the end isn't as great as the beginning. Great performances, some cool visuals. Recommended Making Monsters. Next up was the documentary Beyond Horror. I was very excited to check this one out because I am not into extreme horror. And this is a documentary about red films and extreme horror movies. You know, movies where you will see people piss and shit on each other or, you know, actually cut themselves, hurt themselves. You know, extreme horror type stuff, which I'm not into personally, but I really wanted to see a documentary about it because it's something that I'm not familiar with or super interested in. So I wanted to delve in on sort of the behind the scenes of, you know, what makes these movies happen. What are the fans of these movies like? What are the filmmakers behind these movies like? So this was really cool. I really enjoyed this film. I met the filmmakers behind the film and at a show in Las Vegas, a Days of the Dead show. So I was very excited to, you know, check out their film. And I really enjoyed it. As much as I don't like stuff like this, I enjoyed a documentary about it. There's a section within the film which talks about sort of the repercussions that some of the filmmakers have dealt with after having made these extreme horror movies that I think is so strong. I would love to see them expand upon that section, sort of the repercussions of horror and horror fandom. I thought this was a really interesting piece, a really cool way to start the day. The second film of the day there. I recommend it. This was a world premiere, so this hasn't really played anywhere else before. So if it comes to your city or gets released soon, I think the Horror Society fans would super dig it. Next, I follow that up with She Never Died. It's the sequel to the Henry Rollins film He Never Died. This is a new take on sort of the same type of story where it is a character who can't die, who sort of uses their powers to help, begrudgingly help out some people. And, it's kind of like a zombie movie, but not, because it kind of has its own new rules. It has this one, obviously, because it's She Never Died and not He Never Died, doesn't star Henry Rollins, stars a fairly unknown actress in the lead role, but she's incredible. She carries this movie so well. I had a blast with this movie. I loved the first one. I saw the first one when that came out and was on the festival circuit. So I was very excited to check this one out, and I was not disappointed. It was a super fun movie. I found myself kind of fading in and out at times, so I don't think this one's like necessarily one of my favorites either, but I did really like it, and I really did enjoy it. I think there may be some pacing issues within it, but it's still a really solid, good horror movie that I think fans will really enjoy. Some good gore, and who doesn't love seeing characters who can't die just getting like fucked up? Like, it's super fun. I recommend it. She Never Died. After that, follow that up with Blood Machines, which is the feature debut from the directors who did the Turbo Killer video for Carpenter Brute. And it's sort of an expansion on that. I don't really know necessarily how it's an expansion of that because it's kind of a completely different beast than that music video. But this plays off like a live action version of heavy metal. A couple friends I went with actually said that, and like they couldn't be more right about it. So I'm stealing their words, but that's exactly how it plays off. If you like the heavy metal, comics or books or magazine or the movie, you would probably like this movie, Blood Machines. It's not necessarily my thing. Great visuals. I have to give them that. They have some great visuals, and when they drop in the Carpenter Brute songs, it sounds amazing. But I need a little bit something more to latch on to beyond just cool visuals. The story just didn't do it for me. But if you want to check out something with really cool heavy metal-esque visuals, Blood Machines, and it's only about 50 minutes long, so it's a brief feature or a long short, however you want to view it. I think there's an audience for it, so I would recommend it to that particular sect of an audience. I followed that up with the awards. It's cool to see the filmmakers win. A lot of the filmmakers who won were in attendance. They gave out like 33 awards. It was a fun communal thing, and Nightmares really prides themselves on being kind of a family, and you can really see that through the award show. So if you have a film ever submitted to Nightmares, make sure you come on down for the award ceremony. You might win, and if you do win, they just really accept you with open arms to their little fest family. I followed up the awards with The Lodge, which is the new film from the directors of Goodnight Mommy. It's going to get a wide release in February, so this was kind of like a big ticket movie that they had within the festival, and I loved it. I actually missed Goodnight Mommy. I know I got a screener, I think, for it when it did come out, but I never got the chance to actually watch it. So I got to see this one before that one, and I've heard that it's a very similar movie to Goodnight Mommy. I don't know. I can't say for myself because I haven't seen it. But this one ruled. This one was so good. It's a twisted little thriller. I can't recommend it enough, but I don't want to tell you anything about it because I think going in not knowing anything is the best way to do it. So The Lodge, it's coming out in February. Neon's putting it out, so definitely check that one out. Follow that up with Scare Package. I loved this movie. Super fun, super funny. A lot of cool directors. The director of the short We Summoned a Demon, which is one of my favorite shorts from last year or 2 years ago. I don't remember. It's hard to tell when shorts are on like the fest circuit and stuff. It also has a segment from Emily Haggis, who did Pathogen when she was 12 years old, and she's still making movies today, which is awesome. And Aaron Kuntz, who did Camera Obscura, which you could see my review and interview on Horror Society about that movie. I liked that movie a lot. Yeah, this is a super fun anthology and definitely a love letter to horror fans. I can't recommend this one enough. This was in an Eastern U.S. premiere, so it hasn't really screened at a lot of places yet. It's very new. I can't wait till this one's out and horror fans can talk about it. It is, like I said, true love letter, and I think there's a lot of stuff to really like in that one. So definitely check out Scare Package when it comes out. After that, played Antrum. I've seen Antrum already, so I skipped it, but I love that movie. It's really good. And then Midnight was The Obsessed, which is kind of one of the extreme horror movies that they played at the festival this year. I didn't like this one. This one wasn't for me. And it wasn't because it was too extreme or anything like that. I just didn't think the effects, the gore effects and stuff looked very good. It's a lot of one single character kind of sitting in a room and sort of talking to himself and doing stuff by himself. And it feels more like runtime padding than it does, engaging thriller. I would skip this one, even if you're an extreme horror fan. I don't think, the effects don't really look that great, and the story's just not really there for this one. I didn't like it. The Obsessed. Followed that up with 29 Needles. This is the film that won overall at the festival. And it is in 2 a.m. spot because it's pretty extreme of a movie. It features some real injuries that the actors are doing to themselves. A lot of real graphic sex. And it's a movie about a character who can't doesn't have pleasure through sex unless there's extreme pain inflicted upon him. I watched this whole movie. I stuck with it, but it's just not my thing. I do think there's a sort of people that like, movies that feature real sex and real violence, and real blood and things like that, that probably would like this movie, because it is at least a well enough made movie that I sat through the whole thing and wasn't, 2 a.m. After starting at 10 a.m. with making monsters, making it to 2 a.m. I sat through the whole movie. I never closed my eyes once. I never got dozy. So, I mean, it's engaging enough, but it's just not my thing. So I guess I could recommend this one to extreme horror fans, but maybe a casual horror fan wouldn't like this one too much. But it won overall at the festival, so I definitely think there's an audience for it. 29 Needles. All right, that wraps up day 3. We'll be back with day 4 and an overall recap shortly. Be sure to look out for those.